welcome sisters, welcome to our program On Target. As in the diaspora, anyone having the opportunity to listen to us on the internet, RealFM 91.9, and we on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to our program. As soon as we start this program, you can pick up a telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending, any topical issue of the day. But most important, you can determine what we speak about. You can introduce your own topic. You can stop us in the middle of a sentence. We take calls. And we have no problem if you disagree with us. The democratic system in Grenada is alive and well. And it has been so for eons. 1902, Winston White lose election by 1 seat, 1 vote. For 6 days, 1 vote. 1972. I think George Prime lost a seat in Carriacou by 6 votes. And when they check, he lost by 7 votes. So the electoral process in Grenada is extremely good. When a party win election, they win election. And that is the voice of the people. There are some people that always believe that parties stay too long. In 1976, Eric Gary had some challenges in his own party. Some of the members of the party, principally the 2 women, Nadia Benjamin and Whipple Ned, Gary had some difficulties with them. He immediately went back to the polls. That was a man that believed in democracy. And he got a new mandate. And he won 9 seats. From 13, he won 9 seats. And the opposition, the Alliance, won 6. The Alliance never challenged Gary in the court because they couldn't win him. They made a lot of fabricated lies and propaganda. When Mr. Blaze was challenged, Mr. Blaze refused to go to the polls. He prorogued Parliament. Very undemocratic in the leader. When Keith Mitchell was challenged, he went back to the polls. And I think he won all the seats. That is a democratic leader. When Tillman Thomas was challenged from within the party, he prorogued Parliament. That is a sign of an undemocratic leader. In 2022, we went to the polls. The NDC won the election free and fair. And they had the majority votes. I think the challenge for us in Grenada, we always have to remember 1 man, 1 vote. Guard your vote jealously and know what you're voting for. So the NDC win election. And they have the majority. And the policies of the NDC is different from the policies of the NNP. Both of them believe in have similar macroeconomic policies. But how it is practicalized on the ground, the NDC always seems to be hostile to low-income group. I don't know why. I don't think even they know why. But they're always hostile to the people in the low-income group. And the NNP always sensitive to these groups. That is the biggest difference between the 2 political entities. What people need to do is to educate themselves about the political party. Every time the NDC win election, some people do not even shock, as if they did not expect NDC to do that. I must agree, this time they're a little worse. I expect them to behave this way, but not so bad. But this time they're a little worse. So people have to learn to educate themselves about the party. Culture man. I always like Culture man. He always call and express his views and opinion And that is the democracy. I remember when he called on the road because there were some potholes between Hermitage Medical Station and St. John River. You see about, I thought he said about 20 something. I checked them, he was about that intro. And 2 days after that, they come and fix the potholes. And he used to complain a lot about roads and agriculture. But no cultureman believe that you should not complain because the government needs time. I don't blame him. The government, the National Democratic Congress, have embarrassed quite a lot of the top supporters. They leave the political activists stranded. They cannot defend them. Some of the economic atrocities that the NDC is committing, they has left the political activists spellbound. And they only begging when we on the rum shop and in the discussion, give us more time. They're hoping to win the lotto. They're hoping that Dick Mitchell, the Prime Minister, may get a rude awakening on the road of Damascus. And he might be able to bring back some pride to the NDC local activists. And it's sad. And it's unfortunate because we do not understand that the NDC have this policy long. They always hostile towards the people in the lower income group. They don't care about them. When Ms. Ned run for election, the opposition challenged it in the court. And they won the case because I think she was a numerator in election. So she ought not to be a candidate. But she could have run back in the by-election. So she ran against Vernon Simon and gave him a song beating by about over 800 votes. So although the court says she was not able to run in that election, and they declared the seat vacant, she could have run back in the by. But Vernon Simon decided he was not going to run back against her because he'd get molash. The GNP at that time struggling for somebody to put. So they put Precious. He was a local proprietor, a czar, a don in the community. He had a mule. And in those days, when you have a mule, you was it. But the GNP never recognized him. He never fit in the class. So they refused to help him campaign. And he walked and used his mule to campaign. GNP never helped him. And that is the hallmark of GNP. You still must know the political party history. You know. The NDC grandmother in 1962 campaigned on unitary state. They say we go join Trinidad and we will get same pay as Trinidad. Because that time Trinidad have oil. So Grenadians want same pay as Trinidad. So they are custom providing a law, syrup, lies in a package that you cannot refuse. Junk in a colorful package to attract the very ordinary man that the party is hostile against. Remember they did that in 1990. This is when they had on the estates. Party, Lord, all so many that so artists yes, welcome.
Good afternoon. No, what you see, 99% is to and it's part of what
I hope the next one is not for
no, you
because I like the
that I'm funny.
right.
Something happening. I consider Mr. Tillman Thomas, while he was not a very good politician, I consider him to be a good man. Yeah, and I find he's so quiet now. And we ain't hearing anything from him. He's a man that like to step in and correct things when he think they're wrong.
I think once Kit Mitchell not in power, a lot of people are happy. And they don't care what's going on. They go and sleep.
But I was surprised too. I didn't expect the NDC to win the election. I was taken back. But I think they will fear. I must admit that they have won. But I'm not satisfied with the behavior of them. But I'm satisfied that the NDC, and I'm going to be loud and clear, have won the election.
Well, there was never challenge.
I would have $1 million at the end of the government. So I would have lost that $1 million. Thank God.
I was not a bed though.
But I'm not satisfied that the NDC is doing like a party election.
You think they're doing anything different from 2008?
Yes, they're doing something different because Mr. Deacon, who is the leader, has a different philosophy to the last NDC before, in my opinion. But still, if you after you have power, I don't see why you're doing this. You fire so much people, you change. I think the Mr. Deacon is too educated for the things that I hear he's saying that he cannot substantiate to. For instance, he said that he shook up a pen. He's going to make everybody monthly.
Permanent.
Right? With a stroke of your pen. He tell us in the campaign that if you're getting less than $650, you are poor and you are on the margin. But when you come in, you take out $150 and you say that you're doing the checks and the book. I agree to check the books, but you stop everybody else to check the books. You told the marketing people, look, that you take over, and a few weeks after you come and tell them that they have to take half of the debt. You know, I'm not satisfied with some of the things he's doing. You go buy a plane for Grenada, and a few weeks after you can buy a plane because we have to apply for airspace and whatnot. I'm not satisfied that he's living up to the expectation that was expected from him. But I'm totally satisfied that NDC won the election, and I'm not seeing a crowd above telling where they're going, and that's what I'm worried about. I'm not seeing. For instance, they talk a lot about agriculture in the campaign and when they just got in, but I'm not seeing that drive towards agriculture. I'm not seeing anything show me that you preparing for agriculture. We heard a few weeks ago they talk about some companies not willing to buy so much, and I see nothing more than some refrigerator. They say they're going to look for a place to put. Well, if you have the refrigerator there and you ain't using, what's going to happen? Something is not right, and I wish somebody who knows better could tell me. And last, the unions. To me, the unions playing a kind of game. The teachers' union accept and they boast that that's one of the best deals they could get. And here we hear in the public workers' union saying they're not satisfied with it. I mean, what tomfoolery is that? The one telling us that's the best deal. Yeah, that's the best deal.
You got to separate the unions in terms of negotiation. They're not doing joint negotiation.
But even
so what might satisfy the teachers may not satisfy the public workers.
But aren't we the same country and there was negotiation?
But there's a lot of difference. The public workers union
they were striking together. They were doing everything else together.
But
something is not right. Something is not right, Mr. Sapir.
You see,
it needs examine.
But let me say something to you. The two unions are negotiating differently. They're not the same and they're different. They don't have joint negotiation. So they don't have to have a common position.
But they strike together?
They don't have to have a common position. What they did yesterday is different from today. You have to see them in different light. You see, if you want the truth, you have to be able to accept the truth. You see them in different light. In addition to that, the relationship between the government and the teachers' union may be less combative. So the unions settled the agreement. The teachers' union was able to settle the agreement before the reached Ministry of Labor sat down with the Prime Minister. Because it is not done. Normally you go to the Ministry of Labor and then you go to the Minister of Labor. And then the Prime Minister might intervene. The Prime Minister came in at the very early stage. So that might be different. Remember, the government gave principally the teachers 1.5 million. That was a means to pump the relationship between them and the government saying as bribery.
Well,
so,
I too, you know, right. If people get what
so
they
you
get.
Teachers public union a lot on a lower scale than teachers. So they have to be cognizant of that in negotiation. They fall in a lower scale. So that is so we have to leave that there. But the unions normally do the best they could for negotiation. I don't have no issue with that.
Well, I'm kind of worried over it.
Don't worry about that. You worry about those people who are not represented. People must remember, unions are very powerful. They're very strong. And they could maul government into submission. You know? You there? Yes, unions are very strong. And they could maul government into submission. So don't worry too much about workers that are represented by unions. Workers in the public service have the Public Service Commission. And they have the Public Service Appeals Board. So even when the Public Service make a decision, they could appeal to the board. And that board, I think, is led by a lawyer. And normally they would use a lawyer of some status. So there is redress. Government cannot fire. Let me repeat that, and people must understand that. Government cannot fire public officers so. They could transfer them to a post of equivalent status. And when a public officer is transferred, even if he feels that he was politically victimized, sometimes he don't have the legal arguments to go forward. Because he could go to the appeals board or he could go to the court. Most times is yes. They might move you because of political reasons, but the job provides for you to be transferred. And some of these public officers, if they give them a desk, they just sit down and study and get their master's and their PhD. So don't bother too much about them. They have enough people to fight their cause. My biggest challenge with the youth is proactive. Let us take one that the NIS is claiming that they're going to do some consultation. That is a stunt. That is a sham. The NIS is using this consultation as a rubber stamp. The saddest part of it is our own children that involved in NIS and they're tricking their brothers and sisters. It's not Europeans, not Chinese, not Americans that doing the tricking, our own people. If the NIS is genuine about consultation, they would have made the actual report easily available to the constituents. They could have done it by offering the employers a copy, even if they had to pay for it. Inform the employers you have a copy and encourage them to discuss it with the membership. The unions have 2 representatives on NIS board. So the union perspective should be discussed with the workers independently from the NIS. What is going on is a stunt. The NIS is increasing the contribution, and at the same time, they're increasing the age at which you retire. Why? If you're going to increase the contribution, why increase the age at which you retire? And if you're going to increase the age at which you retire, why increase the contribution? The NIS is supposed to invest our money. And I know not. What is the ratio of returns on the investment? And they should have a table every 5-year period from the time they start. Show us the ratio. What is the ratio of administrative costs? Since technology is improving, is your administrative costs remain stable or reducing? You see, if they send out the information before, maybe workers could sit down and discuss it in caucus. But they bring you in a little hall for 1 hour and a half, talk for an hour, encourage you to ask a question. That is a stunt. That is a sham. It's a disgrace for consultation. And the saddest part is, our own children are the ones involved in NIS. NIS coming as another these organizations that fleece people money. NIS made it so difficult that workers find it difficult to seek benefit to work. And some workers did not get sick benefit pay. Because after COVID-19, NIS changed the mood, the methodology by which you're able to send in workers' names. And employers, particularly in the informal sector, and small employers had difficulties understanding or functioning with the system. An NIS level of intolerance left workers without pay. That I consider NIS to be a vulture. What is sad? The U2 representative on NIS board and the unions in Grenada seems not to be proactive. It saddens my heart when I see our own people chaffing the less fortunate. I'm not surprised. For years now, bearing in fact that the NDC have a history, a hostility against the ordinary man. A lot of individuals who believe they have a birth certificate, and they voice powerful. They believe they qualify to be a hybrid pig. The result of that, they're very antagonistic and insensitive to the needs of their own brothers. Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre.
Welcome, caller.
Good afternoon, brother.
Great, man.
Listen,
Go
people as you, Mr. Pierre, will make these people and them cannot get insurance, NS insurance. Because you bought that insurance, encourage them not to pay it. When they're 60, all of them depend on pro-relief. Mr. Pierre, that is wrong. You're disencouraging the people from just paying NS. These people who work 40-something years now since NS coming for. You mean these people work all their life and they don't join the NS? You say, well, when they're 65 or 60 years, they'll get out of pension. It's because you are disencouraging them.
Caller, do you understand? Caller?
Mr. Pierre, let me tell you something.
Caller?
I listened to Mr. Clifford. He lying on the Prime Minister.
Caller?
Yes.
If you want to attack me personally, do that.
Well,
yes, let me say something to you. Let us make some. I don't like rules, caller. But if you want to take me and personally, do that. But don't, caller. Yes, so caller, listen to me now off there. If you want to attack me personally, do that. But don't attack my callers. You could take issue with what they said, but don't attack them. And I don't think you understand the issue of NIS. So you better go and find out. Grenadians, all workers in the country supposed to pay NIS. So workers who work in the public service, teachers, the big companies like Harvard's, Kenny Lalcine, established companies, they pay NIS. Workers who work in the informal sector, it is more difficult to collect NIS from them and the fishing, the bus conduct these areas. It's more difficult. We have in these new energy in all of the this NIS intolerance to introducing a new system. So the workers in government or Harvard's or Kenny Lalcine, these established places are not affected. The workers who are affected is in the informal sector, the construction industry, and people who pay in NIS for themselves. So, caller, understand the issue and then call me back. Let's go. Yes, caller.
Hey, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, great, man.
Yes, that last caller, he's very much indisciplined. Mr. Pierre, listen to me carefully. He's totally out of himself. He has no respect for anyone. He cannot call a program and telling you, hold on, shut up. Let me ask you that. You're lying. Mr. Pierre, you cannot control.
Well, you see, caller, we have to...
He cannot.
Caller, just a while. For over 7 years, now, I have been on subject matter. We have tolerated radio personalities cussing everybody. They cuss the church. They say the church sucking the anus of political parties.
This is
so caller.
from this gentleman.
Yes, caller, but you see, we have a bigger picture than that. The leaders in the country.
I just alert you. And please, in the meantime, sorry if I'm cutting you. The people must just try to adopt other people who want to get into program. Don't take that long time.
Yeah.
Shoot and go.
Well, I encourage them to punch, but sometimes you have to punch. So obviously, we have to have a little patience with some of the people called regular on the radio to encourage them. Because our leaders in our country have to disown the radio personalities who've been cussing everybody. They've been very disrespectful to leaders and other people in the country. So they sow that seed. It's a seed that is sown. And we have to try to encourage them to change. We are all Grenadians. We want to express our views and opinion. And we're saying that the trade union could be more proactive because they have two representatives on NIS board and they understand. So NIS is increasing the contributions, at the same time increasing the age for retirement. Well, just now, they might bring it to 75 years. And more than 3/4 of the people will die before they get a cent pension. So one have to try to find out where we're going in NIS and why NIS is doing that. And the people involved in NIS are our own people. Why is it they're treating our people that? If we could answer these questions, we might be able to understand why NIS, why the National Democratic Congress is hostile to the physically challenged and disadvantaged children. It's the same principle going around. When you people want to keep some vulnerable people and England and Washington, some of them are on social service. They're on the dole. They're benefiting from unemployment, the 99ers. But these very people, some of them from the diaspora, is cursing Grenadians and saying they're depending on the government. Something wrong there have to be wrong. This is why I believe it is necessary for us to entertain discussion on that. Individuals calling on the radio and say, Those people should go in the land and planting. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, the truth does offend a lot of us, you know.
We have to deal with it.
And they can't take it. It's pressure. Pressure on them because you're speaking the truth. Come in and tell you you're lying. He have the truth? If he have the truth, let he come out with it. And it's time, Mr. Pierre. This man in particular, you have to pull up on him.
Yeah, you see, we have to walk with him.
You walk
Yes.
every day you go take that.
Well, it go take a while. It take a long time for us to come here, you know. It take a long time for us to reach to this stage in Grenada.
Old people have a word saying, every day the bucket going in the well, one day the bottom go come out.
Well, look at the attitude of some people now, and I was speaking about it yesterday, going in political meetings simply to cause mischief.
Yes.
Remember, the government set up a whole ministry for political mischief.
They're lucky, you know.
And
Some of
these-
them lucky.
Yeah, and these individuals are acting like agents.
When they go in the private things, which is not exposed to the public, they're not supposed to be there. They're looking for a lot of leaks.
Well, they're looking for what Polly gives the drum.
A lot.
So we have to encourage them not to go and look for what Polly gives the drum.
They don't need to be there.
You know, but you have to advise them. You have to counsel them.
And the truth offending them. So what they want to pretend, they don't know what's taking place in Grenada. They don't know people struggling. They don't know people hungry. And them are talking about let people go and pick up nutmeg and go to work. Is everybody what have nutmeg land? Not everybody have land. Some people struggling need to help themselves and why? Deacon, you're the Prime Minister of Grenada, Carriacou and Pity Martinique. You reverse it, you say Pity Martinique, Carriacou and Grenada. Think about your future and the future of Grenada, Carriacou and Pity Martinique.
Yes.
We are going down a slippery road. And if we don't check ourselves, we get lost. Prime Minister, Deacon, they call you baby Jesus, but I think you is baby Judas. Be careful with what you're doing. You're harming people. God don't like that.
Yes, caller. Thank you.
Have a blessed evening.
Yeah. You see, the National Democratic Congress don't know. They don't believe what they're doing is wrong. Because they are always hostile to people in the lower income groups. So they make up. So that is why it's so important to entertain discussion with them. I believe the biggest challenge we have here is for us to be different political parties. Yes, caller, welcome.
That's what I said.
Then say it again. Go ahead.
I never call you, I never call you.
Say what you say.
What I say is that these people and them could have paid NS when they're working, either they work with contractor, whether they work for themselves. They could contribute to NS, so when they reach a certain age, they'll get something to go by. You can't take your money, you don't pay NS, you don't do nothing, all you do is just pay gambling and all that thing. And when you're 60 years, you want to go on the point for them. What do you do with your money? That is what I'm saying. You should encourage these people now to pay NS. So when they just up age, they could get a benefit. They would have to go on the poor relief assistance and all that thing. Yeah, Mr. Pierre, let me tell you something. You see, Mr. Clifford lie.
Caller. I just tell you don't do that. And you still miss the point. We're not speaking about people we're not speaking of people not paying NIS. The people are paying NIS. But NIS is increasing the contributions they have to pay and they're expanding the age. Caller, NIS is increasing the contribution and expanding the age. And NIS is having a consultation, but they have not provided the information for the people to do. So in my opinion, the consultation is a rubber stamp. It is a sham. And NIS should not be deceiving its constituents or the people who pay them. And I'm not blaming America, Europe, or England. It's our own people that involve in NIS. The labor movement have 2 representatives on the NIS board. They ought to be treating the people better. And I am worried that this seems to be a all-out attack on people in the lower income group in Grenada. The National Democratic Congress is doing it. The NIS is doing it. And the TUC seems to turn their head from this people. Call spoke women of Caribou. The government fired these people. People working in the government 5, 10, 17, 80. The government fired them. Color, 18 years, women. The government fired the people in polls. I know it's all over the country. Some people who have not, because I stick on Carriacou and polls, I had letters. I've seen the letters these people get. The government fired 30 workers on Grand Bay Estate. They set up those workers, you know. The minister and the PS visited the estate. I was told that by one of the workers. They complimented the workers for their productivity level. The minister identified Paradise Grand Bay Estate as an estate suitable for planting weed. The workers there believe that the estate is a mark for planting weed. One of them tell me, you get more pay. And then they fire these workers. 10 workers involved in source of pest control. They fire them. And I asked the Minister of Agriculture, why are you sabotaging the industry? Caller, the caregivers, the parliamentary representative that said she cooperating with the minister. One worker told me, I didn't hear it from her. The worker said to me, she was the one who called the coordinator and asked them to come back to work. But now they find them one by one. They fired 2 already. They tell 2 they're on the red line, and one says she walking on ice. These people working for $600 and something. This is not $5,000 people, you know. Now, why is it you have a political party that comes in and so hostile towards this low-income group? Why the NIS, if they want genuine consultation, did not provide the information for the people so they could have discussed it, studied it, and then come for consultation? Why the NIS is increasing contributions and expanding the age at which you retire? Is it the intention of the NIS to make sure the majority of people don't get benefit? Welcome, caller. Punch.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre, if these people are then working for $600, how much money they getting in fortnight? How much money they getting for fortnight?
Well, it's not fortnight now. The government said they're going to pay on the 15th of the month.
First, Dr. Kit Mitchell, what is talking about that? You know everybody on a placard on the road?
Yes, and caller, you must understand why. The people who would object to that is the same people in control now. So the NDC has always attacked the low-income group. So it's a matter of the low-income group have to educate themselves about the NDC.
Yes, people are near to reach the retirement. So what you want to come and tell me they know they have to work to reach 60 years?
Yeah, they have to reach 60 before
They have
retire.
to work to reach 60 years when they're tired of planning to retire and take a...
No, caller, you retire at 60 years. Now they are increasing the age. So even if you're in a workplace and you reach 60, the workplace get rid of you. You're not getting it till you reach the age of 61.
And what you going home and sit down with?
Well, you go in and eat sun sauce and stewing.
Well, I just, Mr. Pierre, when I'm talking, everybody does get vexed with me. Mr. Pierre, I listen every program. People don't see what's going on in this country here, you know.
Call it a scene, but it's not a business. The trade union scene, the private sector scene, but they don't care about that.
All the union telling themselves mountain. When mountain come, they know they're getting the pay. They know business and what's going on, you know.
But in all fairness, the union don't represent these workers.
They don't represent, but they know when mountain read the money coming out.
Yeah, well, they don't care about the workers they don't represent.
This is ridiculous and this is advantage. Mr. Pierre, these people and they won't see the, you know.
We have to them. We have to these homes.
Not to worry about the program. All the days of
you see, I think that is where the problem is, because it's all people, county, villages and pause. The people that affect us is all people. So you have to discuss the issue with them and change them.
I bet you if Dr. Mitchell was doing this thing and everybody on the road with a placard.
But when Dr. Mitchell was assisting them, he didn't get much support. Some same workers jump on Dr. Mitchell too.
You know what marketing board some workers tell me? They talk about money. They didn't working for no big set of salary. Their money is like nothing, you know. What they're giving them, they say they're getting money to go home. What they're getting is nothing, because remember, when you pay is not, it don't look like pay. When you go in home, you don't get no big set of thing, and that's what they look at on the pay sheet. That's why they say workers on them, you know, and nobody does say nothing. Nobody does say nothing. Mr. Pierre,
I'm talking.
Right? I'm tired.
No, you mustn't get tired. You see, daughter, these things went on in the 70s.
They need to go. I'm tired of that.
No, you see, you could make one entity go, and if you don't understand the situation, remember what happened in 2008. In 2008, the same thing, you know.
That is like the fall, you know. When the fall, you see the fall coming in the cocoa, it reach halfway. Some of us, you know.
Well, we have to educate ourselves more. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Pierre. Yeah. Enjoy your afternoon.
Yes, thank you. I think the challenge is for us. That's why you see, I don't waste time with history in school. I would not encourage my children to study history in school. Don't waste time with that. It's a bag of lies. Learn the history from your parents, the history of the village, and the history of the community. Learn that history. When you go to school, make certain you do mathematics, English language, chemistry, physics, biology. You must do computer science and do French and Spanish. And if you come out in school with that subjects and good grades in it, you could go in any field you want, from theology to agriculture to geology. So concentrate. If these things is happening today, in the next couple decades, it's going to happen worse. Now is the time that people who are suffering the most must invest in your children the most. 70% of the children that exit in school cannot meet the basic requirements because of the same attitude of the teachers to the children. It's the same attitude that NIS have. It's the same attitude that NDC have. It's the same attitude the trade union leaders have. That is why I don't care about reparation. The black man sell us in slavery. We blaming the white man, but our black leaders sold us. And for 700 years, Africa was selling slaves before the European gone by. So we blaming white people. Well, morally, they wrong to buy people, but individual making money, studying, and you selling. So that is what we're doing today. The people who are destroying us today is our own people. The Minister of Social Affairs gave her word that she's going to re-employ those caregivers. She re-employed them, and they find them one by one. And one tell me their life is hell, you know. They're trying to frustrate them to go. Well, they get rid of 2. They say 2 on the red line, and one says she walking on ice. People working for, they take home pay $600 and something. You know, that is the challenge that we have. Welcome, caller.
Mr. Pierre.
Go ahead, caller.
I sit down here and I listen to you for the past hour. And you know, we have a character team that come out overseas. And I hear you say a word.
Well, caller, you call and talk about the character team. When, caller, when we have people losing their job, caller, when we have people losing their job, me and Mel with character team? People losing their job. You want me to be sidetrack and talk about character team? No, you don't get me to talk about that. One tune. Yes, one tune. The minister says one tune. You want me sidetrack. You don't want to tell me, you don't want me to say, Deacon trick them Haitians. You don't want me to say that. You don't want me to say, Deacon go and hug up Daniel Ortega and then he closing down marketing board and selling electricity company. You don't want me to talk about that. You want me sidetrack. The minister know me good. She said one tune alone I have. You can't sidetrack me. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, sir, good afternoon.
Go right ahead, my brother.
Yes. You know, Mr. Pierre, our Prime Minister today reminds me a whole lot of a lot of African leaders. When we look at Africa, we see that lots of African countries have plenty natural resources. But what do the leaders do? They put it in the hands of foreigners, and they and their family or the group benefit. And the rest of the population is living in poverty. And when I look at this present Prime Minister and the manner in which he's approaching everything, he is looking after his own interests with a small group of people. Because what I see he is doing, the organization like Grenlec and so, when he privatized it, and then the people, he destroyed the economy and the people vote him out, then he will be getting jobs with these companies because he's a corporate liar, right? So what he's doing is dividing Grenada into 2 different groups, the extremely poor and a few rich. No more middle. And I guess some people might just end up having to eat the children to survive and dot. Have a good day, sir. Thank you.
Yes, God. After one of the best things the Prime Minister do so far is to fire the Minister of Finance. Because that is the worst Minister of Finance we have had in the history of Grenada. And the Prime Minister was correct. I have to applaud him for firing the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance met money in the treasury. He shocked them. And he squandered the management of that money. He started flying around the country. Over $1 million spent. About $1 million spent in flying around the country in 9 months period. Less than a year. The Prime Minister pays money that he was not legally obligated to pay. He paid them friendship. The Prime Minister, through the Minister of Finance, removed the money from the elderly, the physically challenged, and disadvantaged children. I understand when they're traveling, their spouse and all traveling. They're doing as if they win the lotto. So obviously, the removal of the Minister of Finance is a good thing. Within the budget, the government claimed they're going to sell Grenada assets. What is the union position on the sale of Grenada assets? I don't think they go sell now as a now. Maybe that is the only piece of asset that will be left. Electricity is very attractive, so they go sell it. NDC sold electricity before. They sold the hotel before. They sold lands before. They sold peace in the market before. In 2008 period, they sold 13 pieces of Grenadian property. They sold property that did not belong to them. If there was an individual, they would have charged them for forgery. And they sold shares that they did not have legal authority to sell. So I did a sell part of Grandba's estate. They're creating the environment to make it look bankrupt. So they send home 30 workers. I understand they were not even able to harvest the crops. And imagine when the village know an estate like that is neglected, what would happen? So they're practically destroying it to selling it. You know, the difficult for me is why Grenadians prepare to accept that. If a country don't have assets of its own, then the country will not be able to negotiate economically with others. So why you have a group that every time they come in power, they sell the assets of this country and they disadvantage the people in the lower income group? I could have only seen the prime minister as a fake. Gone in the UN and he made a wonderful speech that seems to embrace Haiti. And a few days after that, he wouldn't let Haiti land. And 2 days after that, he gone again speaking about Haiti. The prime minister going to Cuba and hug up Daniel Hotel. They say a next Maurice Bishop. When he come back, he sell marketing board. He want to get rid of marketing board. Now, which socialist leader that fighting to sell all his country assets? I always ask, who send this individual? What he is after? By the time he finish later, we'll be on the road to Haiti, a bankrupt country. The Minister of Labor, the Attorney General, she said, we're going to cause serious damage. She used the word irreparable damage to the economy. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. I listening to the news stating that the Prime Minister have to go outside there and talk about like Morris Bishop. Morris Bishop,
Read you enough speech and read what other people.
because everybody Bishop who keep dead worried. Nothing not say it. So what are you going to tell the people outside there now?
Caller, you listen to the Maurice Bishop line of math speech. They don't care about these negatives. When they're going and dramatize and act. The Prime Minister don't even believe in Maurice Bishop. He's not a socialist.
What is that old lie going and give the people at them? When you hear him lying, he giving the old smile.
But I told you already, that is why I don't care about history in school. Because when Monkey writes his story, Monkey always right. Yes, caller, thank you. Yeah.
What going and tell the people and them outside there?
All right, thank you.
All right.
Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Pierre, is because we're so ashamed. Some of us in the diaspora here, we're so ashamed because we can't expect. We didn't expect that from that Prime Minister. We know he didn't have the experience, but they always say, follow your company and I will tell you who you are. Because he's just a liar. You know, he destroyed the finance sector. And he was switching up and telling me that he didn't have no experience. But when he was campaigning, you didn't say you don't have no experience. You didn't say that. So why go to them now and tell them that you didn't have no experience? You don't have no experience. Stay away from it. You know, listen, learn to listen. And the Prime Minister don't like to listen. In time, trying to dictate because he want to power as opposition leader. And that's not the right, that's not the reason why we put him there to present us. So Mr. Dickens, the Prime Minister of India, have to run to listen. Listen. If he doesn't do that, the whole country going to fall. That's all I have to say.
Yes, scholar, I think you hit the nail on the right head, you're correct. And the saddest point of it, none of us cannot plead the fifth, the American term. None of us cannot say we didn't know. The evidence is there. We have a number of people now, and I call on the moderates, the National Democratic Congress, to intervene. Now is the time for you to say that the trajectory we're going on is wrong. We sold the electricity company. Oh, this is not a time in history. War going on in Ukraine for small poor countries to take the energy sector and take it away from us. One electricity company we have. See what was done by WRB and others. They never function in our interests. Now this government is going to sell out this asset. And every time they sell, they get 10%. Look at the bank. The Minister of Finance, he leave immediately the manager of the board of the GD to provide a loan for Oregon. 2 million. They give him 0.5 million to pay his bad debts. 0.5 million to pay all the debts in the bank because he owed the same bank. 0.5 million to pay bank that he publicly claimed he's not dealing with. Point to invest. I mean, come on. And no explanation because the Prime Minister claimed information will be given on a need-to-know basis. We're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1 for another opportunity to punch. You always have an opportunity to introduce your own topic. If I'm not speaking about something, you could introduce it. Thank you very much.